you have to type a story to roll it?
Oh, it's rolling. I'm just typing.
Oh.
All right, double checking YouTube. It looks like we should be live. We are live and on the air on YouTube and Twitch. So welcome everyone to the Foolish Tech Show. It is a midweek Wednesday, and we're here primarily to provide you with support and answer any questions about our products and services. If you do have any of those, feel free to jump over to our IRC chat at foolishtechshow.com. There's a couple ways you can join from there. I'd be more than happy to interrupt whatever we may be talking about to focus on those types of questions primarily. Otherwise, we will spend the time just talking shop about random what have yous, and just keep in mind that any opinions expressed here are of the individual that expressed them and not of the company itself. So with that, looks like we got Phoenix posting some links already in the chat. Hey Phoenix, how's it going? How's everybody else's day going?
Going well.
Pretty good.
Extremely busy.
I don't want to use that word on television. Not like we're on television.
Okay. You can't say that on TV. No, wait, you can't do that on what was that Nickelodeon show?
It doesn't really matter. I'm taking that approach to this day.
Okay. Is it you can't say that on television?
I don't know. There might have been both. It wasn't just one show, I'm sure.
I remember what you're talking about, but I can't remember which one.
It's you can't do that on television. Here's the intro for it. They proved them wrong. Yeah, that was a great show. People got slimed all the time. Oh man, that is an old show. God, I'll have to look and see if I can find some of those. Anyway, well, hope you start to get to a point where you can say those things on television. Otherwise, looks like Phoenix has a couple links here. I'll repost them because it looks like Wesker's just joined us as well. I think we talked about this one yesterday, the Netgear flaws. And then looks like Facebook is doing a whole lot on security implementation. They just recently added the YubiKey access, so you can use U2F keys or a YubiKey, whichever. You can get U2F compatible keys that are not YubiKeys. But anyway, looks like they're adding delegated recovery to replace traditional password recovery methods. Hopefully that'll be helpful. And then he's got one that police suspected hacker who hacked the hacking, or police arrest suspected hacker who hacked the hacking team. Shucks, that was a good hack. They shouldn't have arrested them, but oh well. And looks like the easy to boot beta has something big included with it this time. Looks like they have he's got a Windows GUI utility available for it with the make e2b.exe. Cool. I'll have to check that out and try it out and see how it works. And then he's got, I'd seen this link come across. I didn't check much into it, but apparently New York is suing Charter Time Warner Cable for false promise of fast internet. I saw something about they promised fast internet but couldn't deliver, so probably the same thing. And then last he posted Apple disables a tool to check for stolen iPhones. I'm guessing that's a third-party tool, probably. That would make sense if they did that, but just in general, disabling tools to find that stuff's not that good. Cool. Thanks for those links, Phoenix. I'm gonna have to go back and look more into that Facebook one and the easy to boot one. Sound like interesting things. But otherwise, I don't have time to check them out here right on the show. If you caught the pregame Twitch stream here, we were talking about the Google Home, and Proctor is having some difficulties getting it to answer him as expected. I'm enjoying mine, but I don't ask it that many questions since it's right beside my computer and I can usually type just as fast as I can ask it stuff. I end up using it a lot to set various timers for things, and this was actually an interesting one. I'm thinking about using. It's basically like a list that it keeps in its own memory that you can say things like, Google, remember I put my keys on my desk, or Google, remember I took out the trash, or Google, let's see what the actual phrase is. Yeah, remember whatever you want it to remember. And then later you can go back and ask it, Google, where's my passport, or whatever you asked it, where's my keys, did I take out the trash, tell me what I had to say about the hamsters, and various things like that. So it kind of keeps a list of things to remember so you don't have to remember it anymore. And you could use it in a multi-person situation. So like if one of the people in the house took out the trash, they can tell Google to remember that. And then anyone else that asks, hey, Google, what about the trash? It'll say, yeah, blah, 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 took out the trash. Shut up, Google. I can't have you listening while I'm talking. Yeah, that's right. But I thought it was pretty interesting. I haven't started using this feature yet, but seems like an interesting feature. The downside about it, though, is that you have to tell it to forget specific things. So that kind of might be a little bit aggravating. Although I think it did say something about you could use the Home app to manage your list of things that it's remembered and review them and stuff. But yeah, I thought it was a pretty interesting feature. Proctor, you might like it for how often you forget things, maybe. Do you forget things a lot?
Yeah, a note-taking feature would be awesome.
Yeah, the keep thing, it's supposed to work with the shopping list. We tried it last time we were talking about this and it didn't work.
Yeah.
But I think you just have to phrase it right. And I think that's a big issue with all of these things is you have to learn how to phrase things. It doesn't learn how you phrase things. And of course that would take some actual AI abilities behind it. But Proctor was also mentioning this morning he had tried a few questions and it just didn't know the answers to it. Then I searched for it and I couldn't find an answer for the way he phrased the question either. So you gotta remember that any answers it's given you is based off Google search results, and it's only going to tell you something if it has a snippet answer for it. So if you search Google and it gives you a box at the top and it tells you info, that's when it will respond back to you. But otherwise, it'll just tell you it can't do it. It would be interesting, though, if you could say, Google search this and then have it pop up like the search results on your phone or your computer would be awesome, but I doubt it can do that.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. We'll save that one for a little while here. I didn't get much of a chance to look into this article, but seemed interesting. Dive into the world of DIY electronics with the Arduino starter kit and training. It looks like it's a package deal, and the training they're probably giving you is just crappy webinars, but the starter kit might be interesting. But yeah, I haven't had enough time to look into it and see if it's any good. But I have my Arduino sitting here waiting for a free moment to check it out. Save that one for later, save that one for later. I thought this was pretty sweet. There's a invisible gel robot that can capture fish without harming them. It kind of looks like one of those claw machines. So if you can imagine how hard it is.
I don't know how hard that is.
Yeah. Now trying to use an invisible gel one that is catching things in the water, a fish no less, moving around. I thought it was pretty cool though on two fronts. First, an invisible gel, and being a robot, like to get that claw motion, that's kind of cool to have it in a gel form. And I thought that was pretty interesting. Maybe we'll have gel robots in the future, like big blobs that answer to us or can form to different shapes and things. That'd be pretty cool. I'll save that one, see if Michael comes here. I thought this was pretty interesting. If you ever wondered how a combustion engine works, they put a see-through chamber on the, or see-through, I guess that would be, what's that plastic glass stuff? Plexiglass? But they put that on top of a combustion chamber so you can see the spark going off and igniting and pushing the piston down. I thought that was pretty cool, but also, wouldn't that be freaking awesome to have in your car? Like just start replacing spots with plexiglass. So like you look in your car, like it'd be cool to have an entire plexiglass engine, I think. Like you just open your hood and you can see everything going through your car and stuff. Imagine it'd be pretty dirty at some certain points, but still pretty neat.
Oh, sorry to tread back into a previous article, but back on the Google Home thing.
Yeah.
You know, I guess a burglar could use, you know, if they see you have a Google Home, they could, you know, ask it to, you know, where's my valuables or where's my cash, and try to use that to find valuables.
Yeah, I think, and I don't know if that's the same article that I read originally, but the CNET one, I read a article that was about it, but they had suggested like adding like remember my password. It's like no, do not do that.
Yeah,
Do
no
not
way.
have Google Home remember your password, because anyone can access your Google Home. And yeah, like a burglar does come in, they see a Google Home, they probably are going to start being like, hey Google, tell me what you know about my passwords. And it's going to be like, I found 47 entries for passwords. First one, Gmail password.
Yeah.
That would be a terrible idea. So yeah, don't store.
There are
What?
going to be people doing that, I'll bet you.
Don't store passwords on there or sensitive information. Definitely not good. I thought this was interesting. Bleeping Computer has an article about GitLab going down, and it was because an admin deleted the wrong folder. Possible loss of 295.5 gigabytes of customer data. They did have backups and they're starting the recovery operation, but looks like they have fixed the outage now. But wow, yeah, That's the wrong delete key. Never hit Shift Delete. I'm telling you, get out of that habit right now. That recycle bin's a good thing for you.
Yep.
Although I highly doubt that GitLab is running off Microsoft Windows, and again doubt that the recycle bin is set to 300 gigs.
Yeah.
But I might just increase my recycle bin now just because of that. So Michael had brought up that a Firefox developer mentioned that you don't need antivirus, and oh, that was a nice ad blocker thing. Make me feel bad about using my ad blocker. Anyway, a Chrome engineer has come out and said Windows Defender is the only well-behaved antivirus. And I definitely will agree with that one more often. Here's the other article about the Firefox developer that said you don't need any AV except Microsoft's. But I mean, this has been a long-standing opinion of mine that the only antivirus that is non-intrusive and catches things for the majority of stuff that I come across has been Security Essentials and what they now have rebranded as Windows Defender.
Welcome to the machine.
Yeah. I I wouldn't recommend not having any antivirus. That was definitely not what should have been picked up from that. But Windows built-in antivirus seems to work fairly well for us.
Sure does. At least, you know, and as we've said many times in the past and can say again, it screws up an awful lot of testing we do with malicious software where we want it to infect the system. You know, we have to go to lengths to get to stop Defender most of the time so we can test other things, including prevention from other things that we're doing and repair from other things that we're doing. It's always a pain in the butt. So it's got to be good for something, right?
I think so, and I've had people tell me that they don't think that Defender is a good antivirus, and I'm like, I don't see how. But I mean, they say they've gotten infected with it where other antivirus they haven't gotten infected with. So
I mean, well, luck will be luck and just the way things roll. But
yeah.
you know as well as I do, the vast majority of removing anything from anyone's computer ever in a computer store involved, you know, some other antivirus. You know, it wasn't just no antivirus or just Defender or something. Rarely.
Yeah.
You know, it was more often than not. And you can make the argument that more often than not, someone had a third-party antivirus installed for no other reason, you know, not of their own, you know, even desire or even care or thought or anything. But you've got to admit that that's just the way it was.
Yeah. But I mean, at the same time, compared to other antivirus, Windows Defender is what I've seen as the most streamlined, low on resources, and best integrated. Obviously, they're probably going to end up getting some monopoly violation somewhere because they are integrating antivirus into it. And
well, I mean, it happened with the web browser.
Yeah. But I mean, a web browser I can understand wanting to have choices for. An antivirus, like, I don't even think that market should exist. Honestly, that should have been Microsoft's focus anyway. They should be fixing security issues. And
right, exactly. That's my point too. We see eye to eye on that because the same people who are complaining, you know, a lot of times about this are the same people that complained about Microsoft not having any security measures or having poor security or needing this thing, you know, and now they've got it, and the same people now complain that they have it and that it's inferior and that it doesn't work, and, you know, and all this other mess.
yeah.
Actually, it does really good. You know, it screws up a lot of us trying to screw up
Yeah.
intentionally. So,
But I mean,
whatever you will.
the biggest side I don't like about third-party antivirus is that, I mean, that's a lot of the reason why I went to uninstalling those, or especially disabling them before I tried working on computers, was because they're intensive resource hogs. Like, Norton and McAfee at the time were the worst, especially if you ended up getting suckered into their internet protection suites. You could end up looking at like half of your resources being consumed just by your antivirus. And I'm like, that's not helping. It's not helping at all. So yeah, lots of things can be said about it, but looks like Microsoft is getting some good recognition, at least from web browser developers. I don't know why this has made such great news across the way, but apparently people want to listen to web browser developers about their antivirus. So who knows? Who knows on those things?
Yeah.
But I am glad it's getting said, because I think they have gone a long time and put a lot of effort into a security application for Windows, which I feel like they should have been doing from day one. Like Windows 95 should have had built-in antivirus, stop malicious
I
programs.
think they
Well,
were
you know,
somewhat
it did.
purposefully allowing for third-party companies to develop their own antiviruses and have a stake in the market.
Well, were viruses really big at 95? I mean, the internet wasn't really as prolific.
Yes and no. I mean, I had a I had a virus in '95 or '96 in DOS.
Yeah.
Actually,
The
and
viruses were more annoying than.
yeah. But I've also had one, I think only one infection in Windows since ever. That was on XP. In the earlier XP days. And that was also running no AV software. Never have really, but the virus but talking about those days, DOS came with antivirus. You chose to set it up or not. It had MSAV.exe. Okay, and I don't think Windows 95 had that. I think they took it out for Windows 95. But yeah, but it was a DOS TSR anyway. So they used to have AV included with the OS, if you go back far enough, technically.
First appeared in MS-DOS version 6.0.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd never heard of that.
I remember that. Here's the Wikipedia on it.
Yeah, I don't know how long it was around, but I had it, you know. And, you know, no one remembers that, but I mean, who cares? I mean, and who cares at this point? But I mean, it's the same concept, right? What we're talking about, you know, with Windows Defender.
Oh, here's why you didn't hear about it. Is because it was supplied by Central Point Software Incorporated, which was later acquired by Symantec in 1994.
Yeah, I remember that now that you mention it.
Norton antivirus product.
Nice.
Which essentially was a stripped down version of what they gave Microsoft. That's insane.
Wow, a stripped down version of what they gave Microsoft. That's funny history.
That is. That's interesting.
I dig it.
Well, I'll just say this, that if you choose not to run antivirus in this day and age, then you need to make sure you are on the up and up on your computer safety education. Because like Nick was saying, he hasn't run antivirus in a long time. I haven't run antivirus in a long time, except for Microsoft's built-in Defender, or I do go out of my way to install Security Essentials where it's available. But I haven't had the need for it. It hasn't done anything other than false positives for things that I know are supposedly bad files. So I want those files, but as long as you have proper user education and know about internet safety, security, know about just general computer usage, safety and security, you really don't need antivirus so much. But you have to make sure that you are aware of those things, and you have to make sure that you're ready for something to happen. Because, I mean, it could happen to any of us. I mean, it's not something that would stop, but we all have things in place as far as backups and being able to restore and knowing how to stop and clean the virus ourselves. So,
Yeah.
otherwise, I say if you're not into that stuff and don't want to learn it, make sure you have some antivirus at least. Well, that was a good one. That was good stuff. Now for something completely different. Looks like Amazon is planning to build a $1.5 billion air cargo hub in Kentucky.
Wow.
Could eventually become a direct competitor to UPS and FedEx. But yeah, you would imagine that's going to come with quite a few jobs for it in the US as well. Looks like initially they're going to employ 2,000 people, although I'm kind of half and half on whenever Amazon says it's going to supply jobs, because I feel like Amazon's also a place that looks at replacing things with machines before they look at employees and well-being and things like that. So, and there's been a number of other stories and reports of working at Amazon is not always the best thing for your mental health. So, but still good to see that they're going to be employing at least a few people to start off right off the bat. Then I thought this was pretty interesting. Use a Raspberry Pi Zero to notify you when the laundry is done. Looks like you end up setting up a Twitter account for it, and it just tweets you whenever your washer or dryer's been finished. That's pretty nice.
Yeah, I'm pretty bad about remembering to take the laundry out of the washing machine and put it in the dryer.
Yeah, I'm not so much. Because usually by the time I end up washing clothes, like I have to have clothes, so I'm kind of focused. I'm like, yeah, I gotta remember to put that in. If I'm not waiting right there beside the washer, come on, let's go, put it in the dryer. Come on. But yeah, it's good to see projects like that so that you can see that you can apply those things to other things. I mean, instead of having timers on your oven, you can have a Raspberry Pi set up to tweet you when the timer's up. Or, I mean, I would end up using my Google Home for setting a timer for something like that. But you can use various devices for different things and replace what you're used to. I think it's pretty cool. And also, it looks like BackBlaze is back with another annual report. We've talked about this when they've released them. Basically, BackBlaze is a huge data center, and they keep fairly detailed records on the hard drives they employ and their usage and their failure rates. And looks like this time HDST manufacturer topped the charts with their 8 terabyte drive failing 0% on failure rate. Actually, no failures on that drive.
Didn't they have a good rate before last time we looked at this?
I believe so. I don't have the statistical data for it, but I think also the ones that we looked at previously were like quarters or the year up till, and
gotcha.
The full year now. So if you're looking at 8 terabyte drive replacements, looks like HGST is the one to look at there, and they got the specific model number that they're using. Then also looks like Toshiba, if you're looking for a 4 terabyte one, is a pretty good one as well. Looks like the
The only
worst.
thing I don't like about the Toshibas is they have a very small sample rate, or
Yeah.
sample size.
Yeah. But it looks like the worst one that also had a small sample rate was a Seagate, that specific model. While they used a ton of other Seagates, and that ended up being about the second worst one. And the Toshiba 5 gig had super small sample rate and a fairly high failure rate. So, I mean, you do have to look at the how many drives they used and how long they actually ran, and then how many failures, not just go off the failure rateage. But it's interesting to see those kind of things. And if you're
I wouldn't be too confident in the one that had a 13.5% failure rate though, and that's a small sample size.
Yeah, that's what I just said. That one, that's a Seagate one, but it does look like the Seagates do end up having higher failure rates. Although it looks like their 8 terabyte one, even though that's small sample size, hasn't had any issues yet. But they haven't been running that one for that long either. The HGST has been running for quite some time, about 22 months without any failures. So
Now, I don't really have any personal experience with HGST.
I'm not sure if any of mine are. I don't know if I can easily check either. Let me see if I can get my system management up here.
I think their prices are normally just a little lower than other drives.
Yeah, so I got one HGST, not that same model number, but I do have one. I got a SanDisk for my SSD, 2 Toshibas, and 4 Western Digitals, and the ST ones. What are those? See if I can figure out what these other ones are. Oh, so I do got 2 Seagates in there too. The Seagate ones, though, definitely look like they're on my attached one, which I have a SATA card in my system, and all the drives hooked up to that are ones that have failed or were replaced on my regular 3-year replacement schedule. So I don't trust those drives, but that's where those Seagates are. Otherwise, it looks like I got HGST and Toshiba and Western Digital. Does not look like the 3 terabyte Western Digital fared fairly well on there, nor their 4 terabyte one. So I might want to keep an eye on those drives a little bit more. But it's nice to see that kind of information, especially with the data center that large. Putting that kind of info to use and making it available is really nice, I think. So keep it up, BackBlaze. Good work. Let's see what else we got out here. So we had talked about lighting and lamps yesterday, and this came across a DIY concrete light cube. Looks pretty nifty. There's a YouTube video that shows you how to make it. Uses LEDs, obviously, and then you make a concrete stuff for it, and it's kind of neat. Nice little decor for some ambiance lighting or something, maybe.
Oh, it's a lot smaller than I was expecting.
Yeah. I mean, but you're making it, so you can obviously adjust.
Yeah, I was thinking like end table size, that'd be pretty cool.
That would. Having a footstool
Yeah.
concrete lamp, maybe, that'd be neat. Another life hack here is using a soda bottle or a soda can box for storing canned goods. Thought that might be an interesting way to approach that situation. I usually have them standing upright and stacked on top of each other, but that might be an interesting way to store them. I don't know if a 12-pack will fit lengthwise in my cabinets, though. So. But,
yeah, that's not a bad idea. I've always just stacked them.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing. But I guess if you have a lot of if you have at least 11 cans that are the same, that would be a nice way to do it, because you could put them on top of the refrigerator even and have a whole bunch of them and just be able to pick out which one you wanted.
Yeah, it would be a good way to organize them. I've always struggled with keeping the cabinet organized, and now I have a 1-year-old that's pulling them out of the cabinets and stacking them on the floor. But
nice. You got to teach them how to organize.
Yeah.
I did think that it's always good to see recycling usages where you're not putting it in a blue bin or something like that. Actually going ahead and using it is always pretty cool to me. And then we've been talking bits about contacting your government agencies. I think yesterday or the day before we even talked about how you could find out what office positions you could run for. But there's another one called 5 Calls, which makes calling your government representatives fairly easy and simple. So check that out if you need to report in to your local government.
Oh, I just wanted to point this back on talking about hard drives. HGST, it stands for Hitachi Global Storage Technologies, and it was formed after a merger between IBM and Hitachi of their storage divisions, and but it's currently a subsidiary of Western Digital.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Because I knew I was pretty sure it was related to Hitachi or IBM. I did not know that it's a subsidiary of Western Digital, though.
Yeah, that's what surprised me.
Yeah. Well, maybe those Western Digital ones aren't so bad that I got then.
Welcome to the machine.
Yeah. When I search for hard drives, though, and I told Proctor this when he was looking for a hard drive, usually what I'll do is I'll go on Amazon and look for the highest rated with the most reviews on it, and then check through the worst reviews on those to see what they have to say. Then I'll take the list of ones that I found there, and I'll go around to retail stores and actually look there as well, because a lot of times what you'll find is retail stores will have like out of box or just ridiculous sales sometimes on hard drives. Like I had gotten a 3 terabyte hard drive when they were basically like just coming out onto the market, and most all of them were $400 or $500. I got an external 3 terabyte hard drive for like $99 at a retail store, and I mean that was an amazing deal. So it's definitely worth it if you're looking in that market to check around all your retail stores where you can get hard drives in your local area. And then if you don't find anything, falling back to purchasing online and checking those again. But I find that the reviews on there have fared fairly well for me. Since I've been doing that, I really haven't had a drive just die on me. But that also adds into the fact that about every 3 years you want to replace that drive no matter what. I mean, even if it's still working, go ahead and replace it, add it on as an additional storage that you don't trust but if you don't give the drive time to die, then it's never going to die on you. So I have not had any hard drive crashes. Let me knock a couple times on wood there for that. But using that method, I haven't had any big issues with hard drive crashes. So thought this was pretty cool too. Of course, we know we've entered the time of VR, and looks like Fox Sports will broadcast Super Bowl 51 in a VR suite. So if you've always wanted to go to the Super Bowl but never been able to afford it, definitely wouldn't be able to afford a suite. You can kind of get that experience at home. So I thought that was pretty neat and nice way to apply that technology. Although I don't see why anyone would get a suite if it's like that far away from the field. Like, that doesn't make sense to me, I guess. Like, wouldn't you rather the suites be like at ground level maybe, or just a little bit above? Like, it looks like those suites are like at the very top of the stadium.
Yeah, I wouldn't even be able to tell where the football was.
Yeah. I mean, obviously you got the two nice LCD panels on either side, and then probably a lot of other nice amenities while you're in the suite, but they probably make it worth it.
Yeah, this is for the people who, want to watch the game live, but want the comforts of home too.
Yeah. Well, now you can have the comforts of home and watch the game live there. I thought this was pretty interesting. A GoPro strapped to a sword. You can see it chopping various items. Definitely an interesting viewpoint to see a sword in action that way. Let's see what else we got here. Oh man, if you want a nice slip and slide, that's how you do it. They basically constructed a thing in the center that just spins around and then put slip and slide stuff all around it. Basically big black plastic, and it just spins you around and around. That's freaking awesome.
That does look awesome.
But it is,
with my luck, the rope would break.
Whoa!
Proctor gone.
Yeah, it does look freaking awesome though. People with spare time, you never know. So we got an update on the Highlander remakes. Apparently, it's going to combine stories from across the franchise. I didn't read too much into it, but
Tank. I'm scared.
Yeah, it looks like they're gonna include. Maybe they'll just include
my
the.
first thought was, well, I won't be watching this probably.
Aw.
Yeah.
Were there only certain ones that were really good, and all the rest were like made you not like Highlander? Or?
I have no interest in seeing a remake more.
No, you just don't like the idea of remaking.
Or even say combining some of the various stories with some of the existing branching out that they did.
Especially there at the very end when Sci-Fi Channel started doing everything.
Well, the interesting thing about this remake is it looks like it's going to be directed by Chad Stahelski, which is the director of the first John Wick. Is he the director on the new John Wick as well? Which that was a really well done action movie. So
John Wick was pretty good. I did enjoy that one.
Looks like he is also the director on the sequel of John Wick as well. So, but I mean, the directing behind that can definitely make or break a movie, especially on a action film. So maybe he'll incorporate some of that nice directing style into Highlander. And
See, here's a thing that just kind of ruins it for me. I'm reading on the page, and he says, "What we're trying to develop, I equate very close to Star Wars." I don't understand. Why is he going to try to be like Star Wars?
well, I think from what that paragraph is saying is that well, I don't really know what that paragraph is saying. I think it's not that they want to make it like Star Wars, but they want to be able to tell the story how Star Wars has done it. So
Yeah, I know, make it big and epic and
yeah. Well, and also the fact like the Star Wars is one huge story, but that has 9 episodes in it, but only those 3 in the middle made it more than a story enough for everyone to get into it, and then the first 3 could have done the same for the later generation, and now the last 3 are doing something similar for the newer generation even still. But I guess that's maybe how he's looking at it, is trying to get you a movie or movies that like the story is all told, but you can watch one of them and be satisfied.
now I wouldn't mind, like, if they went back in time and told some stories of different immortals that lived and died before, our modern Highlander tales.
Yeah, yeah. That would be kind of cool. You know, the whole Four Horsemen thing and
Yeah.
the series and Mythos and that whole bit. Awesome material. You know, I mean, what's wrong with established material that they've already touched on, throughout the series? Why do they have to keep inventing new junk? Just along the lines of what you were saying, more stories of the older. Instead of
There's
remaking.
already stories they can tell
Yeah.
without making up new ones.
Yeah. Yeah, they really can't make up new ones if there could be only one, because obviously that's crap. So, yeah.
Is that the one where the McCloud comes from?
Oh, the last one? I don't know. They keep making that up and different and
I
stuff.
don't. Is that the like every time I talk about my
Don't bring up Highlander too.
what? Like it seems like every time I talk about my last name though, that like everybody's like, oh, like Highlander.
Yeah, Highlander 2
What?
doesn't.
I've
Yeah,
never seen it.
that's so sad. That's so classic.
Well, Quark says lame, there can be only one.
Exactly. Or
But yeah, Nick's right though. You got the Four Horsemen storyline. There's so many other characters that came across that they had huge backstories. Darius, Mythos,
yeah, Darius has been good. Remember the one that was played by Roger Daltrey? What was his character's name? Huh?
It was Fitzkern, I think.
Fitz, thank you, Fitz. Yes. Oh, more
was
stories
great.
with him. Yeah, the Who. A lot of rock and roll people with character parts in that series. Why not work with that?
Or even do more of a story on where did the Kerrigan come from.
Ooh.
Maybe
Yeah.
we need a Highlander directed and written by Rob Zombie.
No.
Dank said no right off the bat. I think that would be awesome, like the darkest Highlander yet.
Depends on which story they're doing. I could see some of them, yes.
I totally would
Four
entertain
Horsemen
the
stuff,
thought.
yes.
I would totally entertain the thought. And I'm pretty sure, yes, actually, the Four Horsemen stuff would be horribly good.
Well, we'll just have to see what happens. So, I thought this was a pretty interesting attack here. So it looks like MCSoft's website was hit by a DDoS attack after they released a ransomware decryptor. Looks like in the past week, both MCSoft and Dr. Web, which is maker of Dr. Web Curate, have suffered DDoS attacks at the hands of cyber criminals to try to bring down their sites because they're releasing stuff that messes up with the ransomware people. So interesting to see that they're not only trying to go out and entrap people, they're also trying to attack the people trying to help them. So. And I think that is about all the links I might have. I guess Michael's not going to be able to join us because he keeps interrupting me, asking me questions about random stuff. So I'll go ahead and talk about those other ones that I was going to wait for him on.
Oh no! Oh gosh, the show's almost over.
Yeah. So there had been a lot of links about this. I hadn't looked into any of them until this one, where essentially NASA has been doing some testing on how space flight and being in space affects your body. And they did this by having a set of twins, one that they sent into space and one that stayed on the ground, and kind of measuring the differences and things between them. Thought that was pretty interesting. Looks like it definitely does change your brain being in space, so thought that was cool. And looks like Futures Tech Crew is here, so they'll probably be interested in this as well. Looks like the director for Arrival is going to be the one that attempts the Dune adaptation that we'd been hearing about. So possibly a new Dune movie coming out. I was not that big a fan of Arrival, so I'm not very excited about that because I thought it was a terribly boring movie. But Michael seemed to enjoy it, and he really enjoys Dune too, so maybe it'll work out for the best. Yeah, Quark, we've mentioned that there's been talks of them doing an adaptation for Dune fairly recently. It looks like they're actually going forward with it if they hired someone. I think it started off with something about the rights had become available again and the right people had purchased it. Yeah, I know y'all were big Dune fans over there. She's literally jumping for joy. That's awesome. Yeah, we'll see how that ends up playing out, and definitely will, if we see any more notes about it, we'll keep everyone informed. Thought this was pretty cool. This is the Boston Dynamics robot that can self-balance. This is the first video, although this was a leaked video, that I actually believe the robot's self-balancing since it doesn't have a whole bunch of cords and crap attached to it. They had previously shown it like standing on one foot and things of that nature, but it had all these power cords and things hooked up to it. You couldn't really tell if it was doing it by itself or not, but it looks like they got it fully mobilized and running and jumping and rolling down hills and stuff. That's pretty neat. Definitely good things for robots to come. Yeah, Quark, I wish we could have better battery technology. I wish that the battery companies right now would all go out of business so that they'll stop hiding all the good battery technology that's come out, so that we can develop and focus on that more. So I really think that that is a conspiracy that's true. A lot of your power stuff is being balled up and withheld just because it's so much cheaper or so much more profitable to sell you batteries that don't last very long. Even rechargeable ones die. We are about at our hour time limit, so I'll leave you with one last link here that I have. Looks like Australia is going on the offense against smoking. Various things like putting labels on packs and can't smoke within 10 meters of playground equipment, big campaigns, and probably the biggest thing that's going to be the most effective is trying to increase the cost of the taxes until a pack of cigarettes costs $40 in Australian dollars, $24 in pounds. What is that in American money? It's about $30 in American money is the target. So a pack of cigarettes for $30. I think that'll make most people quit. So that is about all I got here. Anybody else got anything cool or something they want to mention? Because that would be illegal to just make them illegal. They have to make it still available, but just make it almost impossible for you to get it. I could see that. I don't see why they don't impose that kind of restrictions where you can only smoke in private residences or something. Well, looking through some of my older links, I thought this was interesting. So here's a mini MRI for newborns. I don't know how I would feel about that. Like,
What?
newborn baby going into an MRI machine. Like, I guess it would be important to see their brain scans and such, but I don't know. It seems like a lot to put on something that just came into this world.
Yeah.
Welcome to the world. Here's a bunch of electromagnetism.
I'm having a really hard time.
The noise would probably be
Understanding.
quite irritating to them as well.
Yeah.
I don't understand how it's ridiculously cute.
Because it's so tiny.
No.
It's just kind of cute. I mean, I'll give them that. I'm just saying the whole principles behind it is like, A, you're having to strap down a brand new newborn baby, and then you're going to pound them with electromagnetism and, yeah, the noise and stuff it generates. It's just, man, it does not seem like good things all around.
Well, I don't think they're just giving them MRIs to.
Yeah, just for fun. Yeah,
for the
they're
heck
not.
of it, but
Hey, we got this new MRI. Do you want to put your newborn baby in there? It looks so cute. Yeah, I know they're doing it and they have to get their brain scans for reasons probably, but I don't know. I kind of feel like maybe, I don't know. I just have mixed feelings about it, I guess. Oh, and here's another nice little link. It looks like Microsoft is making Windows 10 security easier. The Defender Security Center shows antivirus, browser controls, and app settings at a glance. So, see, they are trying to improve their stuff, making it better and better. But that reaches our hour time limit for today, so we are going to go ahead and wrap her up here. Nick, did you want to mention anything about your project? We got the Futures Tech crew in here, and Whiskers and Farley might be interested. Phoenix as well.
Oh, do I really have to talk?
I mean, you don't have to if you want me to just talk about it.
You can start if you want to.
Okay. So you all might have not had a chance to watch the previous shows, but Nick does have a alpha release out for D7X based code, and I am looking here to get some of the links for all of that.
I have that actually here. Hang on.
Oh, okay. I got it right here too.
All right. Don't put the thing in the thing and the what you did. Did you private?
Yeah, I can private message them.
All right. Not the first two. I'll put the first two in the main thing, and you private the other things to the things.
Okay.
To the relevant peoples.
Anyway, to tell you what it is all about is essentially Nick has a alpha version of D72X is what he's branding it as right now, and it is essentially the D72 code on top of, or no, the D72 interface on top of D7X code base. So he's got it compiling and working in.
Well, and all of the D72 specific functionality that makes it D72 versus an application that starts and sits in memory doing nothing.
Yeah, that. What?
It's still D72. All right, yeah. I did want you to start. I will finish, I guess.
Go for it.
You know, it's D7, and I've talked about this being a step, and I don't know who was here and who wasn't. But here's where we're at, D72 code, to get you subscribers, something more recent, more quickly. We're doing that. And putting the D72 code on the D7X code platform, meaning functions, like the application starting up. A lot of basic functionality, like, I don't know, checking for the existence of a file, writing a file, reading the registry, very basic functionality. A lot of this stuff is replaced with D7X code, but replaced in such a way that the D72 code that's still called the function that reads the file, reads the registry entry or does the thing, is still functioning as D72 code and always was. In the way that it previously was. So the goal here is to get the code out and get updates to D72 subscribers before the full D7X release could be, completed. With that being said, where we're at right now with the alpha is just to make sure that we can get the D72X alpha to work in the exact same way that D72 did. And what I mean by that is that things that worked in D72 should work in D72X alpha version that you've just been given the link to. And that's our goal. We know some big things don't work. And then we're just trying to figure all of that out and make it work in that way before then moving on to actually update the things that we want to change about D72. So that's the...
Yep, some key points to add on to that are please read over the info and known issues page that Nick posted there. That'll give you info on how to set it up and work with it. Do not use this in production. Please do not use this in production. We know there are some things broken, some fairly big things that are broken.
But we don't know the consequences or the ramifications of everything.
Yeah, so that's definitely do not use it in a production environment. Continue using your D72, which should be working perfectly fine like everything. But what we need from you guys and gals is test it out in non-production places wherever you can. Just try it out, see what you can get to break. If it's not on that known issues list, let us know about it so that Nick can add that to his gigantic list of things to do.
The app will auto update itself, and that will be soon. I actually have much newer code that has not been released yet for the alpha. And that is, yay, new toys.
Do not load it on.
Do not load it on. And then Oh gosh, yeah, that's awesome. But no, we want to. I forgot completely where I was going after that comment. I was woohoo! Good to see it. Load all new client computers, everybody. No, forgot where I was going.
You're talking about auto updating and lots of new code coming.
I don't have the update pushed out right now specifically because what I'm doing at this very second is a maintenance fix for a custom app in D7.2 that works differently right now on that A2CMD. Would not work as configured the default app, so unless you've already got it downloaded and you've been using that in your configuration, the newer, it's not going to work. So fixing that, and I actually have that worked out, and I have that fixed and very close to deploy. And I said this yesterday about, around the time of the show, or something like that. And that was like I came across something that kept me from actually working until today, about right before the show. So hey guys, good morning, by the way. I never said really good morning to anyone here. Some personal junks and whatnot, but I'm going to get this fix out, and then when I get this fix out, I'll do the other thing. So the update, but the updates in D7.2X are going to occur automatically. It's completely separate from the existing D7.2 functionality, which will actually download D7.2 again if you try to use that, not the D7.2X. So don't use that.
Yeah.
D7.2X will manage its own self. Debug logs will be managed by themselves as well. Right now, there are none. They will not be created. You will not see anything in debug view. I need to guarantee that information on the computers isn't leaked to us, and the information from us isn't leaked to the computers before I enable that code. And then that will actually be a lot of automated, behind the scenes, kept in memory stuff versus the what you're used to, the files on the disk. Although I can make those, I'm actually looking also for a happy medium with making sure that sensitive information isn't going either way. And that happy medium is in that my debug logs currently, if I were to enable them for you, you would not use the product. Because currently, it'll create anywhere from a few kilobytes of log to 10 megabytes of log just from starting up D7 to X and then shutting it down again. So I'm trying to find a happy medium of that, especially for transmission and whatnot. Right now, it will be automatic with the alpha, but by release, the new debug system, as far as any automated transmission of data, would be opt-in and opt-in only. But right now with the alpha, I'm probably going to do it automatically. Just not doing it at all right now, essentially. So let me make sure that day is good. I think that's about all y'all really need to know beyond what's on the page already. Exciting stuff.
Definitely. We're very, very excited about it. And looks like Ryan just joined us as well. So
yeah,
posted those links, and I'm going to PM you a copy if you want to check it out if you're a D7.2 subscriber. And I'll post this show sometime today, so you can go back and rewatch this last little bit here as well. So.
Yeah, definitely. But and also just before we moved on, I just wanted to say thanks. I guess. Actually, I forgot what I was going to say, but that was part of it. So thanks.
So with that, I think we will go ahead and wrap up now. So thanks everyone for joining us. Ryan has been a while, but it has been good with us. Hope it's been good with you as well. And thanks Farley and Futures Tech crew and Phoenix and Whiskers for all joining us here. We will be back tomorrow at 4 p.m. for our Thursday show. Again, we are here mainly to provide support and answer any questions about our products and services. So if you have any of those in the meantime, feel free to contact our support via the various methods we have on our site. Otherwise, if you want to talk directly to us, you can wait until 4 p.m. tomorrow, and we'll be more than happy to do that then. So otherwise, hope you have a great rest of your week, and hope the start of your week's been good, and we're halfway there. So thanks, everyone. Take us on out, Proctor.